Chris Brown wants to tour Australia in December this year, and due to his 2009 conviction of assault against ex-girlfriend Rihanna, he may not be allowed to enter the country. The Australian government's newly appointed Minister for Women, Michaelia Cash, is against granting Brown a visa to enter the country, saying people need to understand if you are going to commit domestic violence and then you want to travel around the world, there are going to be countries that say to you, you cannot come in because you are not of the character that we expect in Australia. This is a government that's not afraid to say no. Is it really, Michaelia? How do we define character when it comes to new arrivals into the lucky country? Has Australia not just permitted re-entry to rock star Ozzy Osbourne for his upcoming tour when his wife Sharon revealed on a talk show once that Ozzy nearly choked me to death at one point in their marriage? And correct me if I'm wrong, but Tommy Lee and Vince Neil of Motley Crue, who both have official records of domestic violence, completed a farewell tour of Australia recently also. Back in 1998, Tommy Lee was actually sentenced to 6 months in jail for kicking former partner Pamela Anderson while she held one of their children. Double standards, gotta love them. It's known that Australia's Department of Immigration and Border Protection deliberates on granting a visa when the visitor presents a risk that they may vilify or incite discord in the country or represent a danger to the Australian community. Domestic violence is an extremely hot topic in Australia, and rightfully so. But I think to make an example right now of a young man who's served his time and hasn't committed a similar offence since might be wrong. He should be permitted to enter the country and while there, use his time off stage to speak honestly and openly with domestic abuse victims and perpetrators even. This type of activity isn't mandatory for Brown to complete, especially since he's officially done his time. However, it would absolutely be the right thing to do. It would build his relationship with Australia and, most importantly, his fans there. Young women still make up the majority of Chris Brown's loyal audience, and we all saw the images of Rihanna's face after that horrific incident. Brown was given 5 years probation, community service, and domestic violence counselling after pleading guilty to his crime. Whether you agree with the severity of the punishment or not, he did what the law instructed him to do. He's now living with the consequences of his actions for the rest of his life, as we all do when we do something wrong. Should he continue to officially suffer for the actions when he completed the legal penance he was given? It's a very tough question, one made even tougher when you acknowledge that Brown actually toured Australia twice since his conviction, and on both occasions he was extremely well behaved and caused no trouble. According to ABC News in Australia, 63 deaths this year so far have been attributed to domestic violence. The White Ribbon Campaign to Stop the Violence Against Women says that right now, on average, 1 woman is killed every week in Australia as a result of intimate partner violence, and domestic and family violence is the principal cause of homelessness for women and their children. These statistics are extremely scary and almost unreal in a country like Australia. But they are happening, and as a convicted perpetrator of this crime, Chris Brown should not only understand why he's in the spotlight once again for what happened with Rihanna, he should be enlisted to perform community work while in Australia. And he should want to do it also, because to do it just because you have to would do even further damage to his reputation, and if that's the case, he can stay right where he's at. I'm yet to interview or meet Chris personally, so I cannot speak on the man himself, but only time will tell how he faces this fresh round of controversy. A policy initiative from the Australian government to recognise the tragic blight on society that is domestic violence has just been announced, including $59 million allocated for practical initiatives to keep women safe, $36 million to improve frontline support, and $5 million for online resources. And let's hope this is just a start. Australia's new Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, has said, "Real men don't hit women." I agree, Mr. Turnbull, and real women don't hit men either. My mum taught me that a long time ago. No matter what is decided when it comes to Chris Brown's re-entry into Australia, the most important outcome here is the lesson.